What do you think really caused the death of Elizabeth I? A tough childbirth, maybe? That's what a lot of folks believed for ages. But guess what? New research is pointing to something way darker. Let's dive into this week's history hot tip and uncover what truly took the life of the Virgin Queen. You might not know me yet, but I'm all about sharing fascinating history. And honestly, you're awesome for wanting to learn more. All right, jumping right in. The Tudors were known for some pretty savvy rulers. Think Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, and Mary I. Okay, maybe Mary isn't the best example, but you get the picture. These monarchs understood how crucial public perception was, and they worked hard to shape their images to win the hearts of their people. This was especially true for Elizabeth I, whose legacy still shines bright today. It's no wonder her likeness is featured on the famous Minting Tower at the Tower of London. She was definitely seen as a powerful ruler, but how did she meet her end? For a long time, historians believed she died from giving birth to a stillborn son back in September 1569. But hold on, she'd only had one child in 1587, and that baby was stillborn too. So how did this theory get so popular? Rumors floated around for centuries that Elizabeth had given birth to twins in 1562, both of whom were stillborn. The kicker? There's no record of this second pregnancy or birth. But we all know how gossip works, right? Once a story gets out, it sticks around, no matter the facts. In 1820, historian J.G. Nichols took it a step further with his book, The Progresses and Public Acts of King James I. He claimed not only had Elizabeth given birth to twins, but there were actually 3 stillborn kids. And he didn't stop there. He said 2 other children were born alive but died later on. Nichols even suggested that Elizabeth's cousin, future Queen Anne of Denmark, and a lady-in-waiting named Bridget Denman were whisked away after their secret births and raised in hiding. Sounds pretty plausible, right? Elizabeth was known for keeping her family scandals under wraps, so it could have happened. Nichols backed up his claims with supposed evidence, like a letter from Elizabeth's secretary and a document about Bridget Denman's pension, plus an account from a French ambassador who said Anne looked a lot like Elizabeth. But here's the thing. Nichols didn't account for the rise of historical fiction. Readers found his ideas so compelling that they started writing fictional stories about Elizabeth's supposed kids, which future researchers mistook for facts. This misinformation snowballed until 1978, when historian Antonia Fraser published The Shadow of the Queen. She pointed out that there were no records to support Nichols's claims, and that the evidence he presented could be explained in other ways. For instance, Elizabeth's secretary might have been referring to a different kind of letter that was trendy back then, or the French ambassador could have just been making an observation. After all, Anne was Elizabeth's cousin. So, why would Elizabeth go to such lengths to cover up these pregnancies? There are a few theories. Maybe she thought her subjects wouldn't accept a child born out of wedlock, or perhaps she believed the father should marry her first. Some scholars even speculated that the kids weren't hers at all, but the result of an affair between Jane Seymour and Henry VIII. But none of these ideas really hold up. As Fraser points out, Elizabeth had her reasons for keeping her personal life private, but she didn't need to create a secret family. So what's the real story? According to Fraser, Elizabeth I probably never gave birth at all, making her the first Tudor monarch to die without leaving an heir. The rumors about her supposed children seem to trace back to Nichols' research and his desire to make Elizabeth seem more relatable. Writing in the 1800s, he knew his readers would find her more interesting if she had a little scandal in her past. And what's more scandalous than a secret brood of illegitimate kids? But where did the story of a mysterious half-sister come from? Sadly, the answer appears to be pure fiction. It looks like novelist Margaret Campbell Barnes started it all with her 1936 book, Elizabeth, Daughter of the Dragon. In it, she claimed that Elizabeth's mother, Anne Boleyn, had a daughter before Elizabeth who was sent to live with a family in Norfolk, and eventually married the man who became the 4th Earl of Southampton. There's just one tiny problem. Anne Boleyn couldn't have had a daughter before Elizabeth. By the time Elizabeth was born in September 1533, Anne was already in custody, waiting for execution. So any daughter she might have had would have had to be born after Elizabeth. So why did Barnes include this story in her novel? Maybe she wanted to add some drama for her main character, or explain the close ties between Elizabeth and the Southampton family. Whatever her reason, this half-sister idea sparked a whirlwind of historical inaccuracies. Before long, Elizabeth had gained 4 illegitimate children and a half-sister, none of whom ever existed. It's hard to say if Elizabeth I ever knew about the rumors surrounding her supposed kids. But if she did, she would probably have been horrified. After all, her mother was executed for adultery and treason, and the thought of her engaging in similar behavior would have been utterly abhorrent to Elizabeth, who worked hard to cultivate her image as the Virgin Queen. The truth is, we may never know exactly how Elizabeth died. She did suffer from what's now believed to have been smallpox in 1562 and 1563. Although she recovered, it took a toll on her health, and she dealt with various illnesses for the rest of her life. Historians have attributed other ailments to Elizabeth, like epilepsy, malaria, polio, influenza, migraines, and even clinical depression. Some believe her symptoms might have been due to mercury poisoning, a common treatment for syphilis back in the Renaissance. Others suggest she might have had anorexia nervosa, pointing to her extreme diet of bread and water, which led to painful ulcers and discolored skin. And then there are those who argue she had borderline personality disorder, citing her mood swings and tumultuous relationships. Despite all this, Elizabeth I remains one of England's most beloved monarchs, even after over 300 years. Her image often symbolizes the nation, and her legacy continues to inspire artists, writers, and filmmakers. So, what do you think really caused her death? Was it a disease, an eating disorder, or something else entirely? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss an upload. Thanks a ton for watching.